Hey, what's happening, you guys? My name is the Raptor, and welcome back to Who Would Win and Why. And this time we got Star-Lord, the leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy from Marvel, going up against Han Solo, the awesome smuggler from Star Wars and the co-pilot of the Millennium Falcon. So, before I get into who I think would win and why, and talking about the characters and whatnot, I do want to establish some guidelines because what I'm about to say might confuse you if I don't say this. And what this is that I will not be focusing on comic book Star-Lord, nor will I be focusing on the expanded universe stuff that Han Solo has been in. So basically I'll only be using what we've seen from the movies of both characters. And some of you may be asking why, or like, that's not fair or whatever. Well, okay guys, I really don't know anything about the expanded universe nor comic book Star-Lord from the comic books, like anything that he's done or any comics he's been in, so it would be pretty much impossible for me to do this episode. Also, from what I've seen about both of these characters, this seems to be a much fairer fight, especially when you factor in the difference between movie Star-Lord and comic book Star-Lord. I think that this is a much fairer fight. And before you ask, no, I will not be using anything from Episode 7, The Force Awakens, for Han Solo. I will only be using like from the original stuff from the original trilogy, so I'll just be like pulling him out of that, just because that's the main version of Han Solo, so I just think it's more appropriate to use that. But this was a pretty long introduction. You guys already know this now, so let's just get right into it. So, who'd win and why? Let's find out. So with Star-Lord, there's not much to go over with Star-Lord because he's only been in one movie so far. I know he's planned 4 future movies, but I'm just going to use what I've seen so far. And because there are going to be like future movies with Han Solo in them, well, there is going to be like an origin story for Han Solo. Spoiler alert about The Force Awakens. I know he died, so he's not going to be in like any like future movies like in the timeline, but I think there is supposed to be an origin story for Han Solo, I think in like 2018. So for stuff like that, I am going to have to make some sort of assumptions in some cases for, I think, both the characters, but I'm only going off of what I have right now for both these characters. So with Star-Lord, I know that he's a half-human. His pain tolerance and his durability, I believe, is like much higher than a regular human's. Like, he's been able to be like smashed into stone structures. He's been able to be thrown by like people with inhuman strength, like Korath, which I'm assuming is really rather strong, and he's been able to hold on to the Power Stone longer than I think any of the other Guardians of the Galaxy has been able to do. So that's pretty impressive. He's been able to do that's like pretty high pain tolerance. He's been able to do a lot of things that probably most humans would not be able to survive. And I think he's also documented to have like he's like peak physical condition. He has a peak physical condition. So for a regular human, that's pretty good. When it comes to like stat wise, with like strength and speed, like physically, I say he's really rather good. He also has 2. I think in the comics they're called element guns. I'm not sure if they're called that in the movie. They might not even be called that in the comics, but that's what I've heard. I think in some cases they're called element guns, and I believe he has 2 of them, and I think they can fire. I think they can fire fiery blasts and electrical blasts, both of them. So that's a fairly versatile gun. I'm not sure if they really can like run out of ammo or something, but he does have 2 of them, so that's cool. But he's also he doesn't just rely on his guns though. He also has a helmet which allows him to breathe in space if he really needs to. He's also, I believe, an expert in close quarters combat because we've seen that he's been able to fight Kree and Inhuman warriors, and he was also able to stand up to Gamora, who was an assassin trained by Thanos in the comics. In the movies I meant. I'm not sure if that's actually the same in the comics, but in the movie at least. Remember, I'm only using movie Star-Lord. So that's pretty impressive for what he's done, and also he's been able to do a lot of stuff on his own. While yes, he does work with the team, that's only one movie, and I'm guessing like from what we've seen at the very beginning of the movie, like when he was able to like steal the was it the Power Stone? I think it was the Power Stone. He was that's pretty much saying that he can do that a lot. Like, that's what he's been doing before, if you guys know what I mean. Like, he's been doing that for a really long time. He's been able to get himself out of situations. He's basically worked by himself a lot, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because we've only seen him do really like one mission with the Guardians of the Galaxy so far, one impossible mission, but even then it doesn't even look like he's relying on them that much. And while he is the most human out of all of them, because all of them are aliens and they all have like, well, Gamora doesn't really have any powers, but she's very, very skilled. He's the least powerful out of all of them. He's He's the leader. He's been able to distract Ronin, with his dancing. Not sure how that's going to help him in the fight, but, just pointing that out there, throwing that out there. And he also has his, rocket boots or whatever, which are, I guess, they enable him to fly and also, I guess, make quick getaways, as we see at the beginning of the movie. Star-Lord, I'm sure he's had a lot of experience stealing things and, weaseling his way out of things as well. Star-Lord, that's pretty much what I know most about him. If there's anything else I think of, I'll come back to him. But, I've already said a lot about him. Let's move on to Han Solo. Now, Han Solo, he's a smuggler. He has his, regular blaster, which I believe has been able to kill stormtroopers, even with their own armor. So, that's a pretty powerful blaster if he's able to do that. Also, like Star-Lord, he's been able to, weasel his way out of things, stuff like that. He's done a lot. I'm assuming because he's getting his own origin story, I'm assuming he's done some stuff on his own. He hasn't just been with Chewie the whole time, especially since Chewie was in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. He hasn't been with him the entire time, But what my point is that he's not just overly reliant on Chewie, and Chewie, I'm assuming, isn't overly reliant on Han either. But, that does show that in more recent years, he has been shown fighting with Chewie, and, he works better with him. Kind of like a Rocket and Groot dynamic, which is funny since we're talking about Star-Lord as well. Han Solo, like Star-Lord, doesn't really carry that much armor. I don't really think either of them have that much armor. What else about Han Solo? Han Solo is probably also a bit more level-headed than Star-Lord is. I'm also assuming he's probably a bit more smart than he is. The thing that's noticeable about him is that he's fought, or at least he's shot, like Greedo, a lot of people that are a lot like him. People with just a blaster or something, like other smugglers or whatever. And as soon as he sees Darth Vader or something, or as soon as Darth Vader sees him, he's using the Force to take away his gun. So while the more powerful people, he's seen them and he's faced them, but he hasn't really fought them that much. That's more so what Luke does, being a Jedi and stuff like that. He's seen them and but he hasn't really fought them and stuff like that. He's more so fought people like himself, which I guess will help considering that Star-Lord is a lot like him. These two characters actually do have a lot in common, and this one might actually be a pretty close fight. But anyway, moving back to Han Solo. Unlike Star-Lord, Han Solo doesn't have any special attributes. He doesn't have a mask that can let him breathe in space, or rocket boots or anything like that. But he's famous for he's a famous smuggler. And I'm assuming he's probably done a bit more than Star-Lord has. He's probably had a lot more experience doing what he does. But both characters are really good at their jobs. If you consider stealing a job for Star-Lord, he's been stealing probably for a while. He knows how to do it, and Han Solo is a really good smuggler. They're both really good at their jobs. So, yeah, sorry, that was awkward. Anyway, I don't really know what else to really say for Han Solo. I guess what I'll do is I'll go more into who I think would win now. This is actually a pretty close fight, as I said before, because both of them do have a lot of similarities. They both wield guns. They both don't really have that much armor. They both like to talk their way out of things. They have a lot of similarities. They do have enough differences for this to be entertaining or whatever, but they do have a lot of similarities, and this might be my closest fight that I've done on Who Would Win and Why, except for maybe Green Goblin versus Hobgoblin. And no matter what I say, like other battles, but especially this one, I know that there is going to be someone who disagrees with me. And they probably have better reason than I do, if anyone were to disagree with me. Because I don't know everything about these characters, especially these ones in particular. However, I do have someone who I do think would win. This is a pretty close fight, but in the end, I'd say that Star-Lord would win. And I know some people aren't going to be that happy about that. In fact, I'm not even that happy about that. I love Han Solo. He's easily in probably my top 5 characters in Star Wars. And there are a lot of characters in Star Wars. I love Han Solo. He's an awesome character. However, I do have reason for why I think Star-Lord would win. This is not an easy fight for either character, but let me please just explain why I think Star-Lord would win this fight. One, because he's just way more versatile. He's been able to get his way out of situations through what he has. You know, like he has his rocket boots, which allow him to fly, which we already know Han Solo can't do. If any of them somehow end up in the vacuum of space, one of them's going to die, and it's not going to be Star-Lord, you know, with his mask and whatever. What else? He also has a more versatile gun. I'm assuming that if either gun hits either person, they're going to die, but, you know, just pointing that out there, you know, he has two guns as well. So, you know, that's something worth noting. Also, what I find is that Han Solo has not done a lot of combat, and not only is Star-Lord more versatile when it comes to combat, but he's also just fought a lot more, like fist to fist, you know, stuff like that. Because, like I said, he's in like peak physical condition, which I'm assuming is better than what Han Solo is. Han Solo is more like a very like he has like human level stats, I'm assuming. And if it comes to like a fist-to-fist thing, I'm assuming that Star-Lord just outclasses him. You know, he like peak physical condition, and his pain tolerance, like I've said, is crazy. He's been able to survive like Inhumans, and they have like inhuman levels of strength, which again, not exactly sure how strong that is, but that's still really rather strong. So when it comes to an actual like fist fight and stuff like that, I'd probably have to give that slight edge to Star-Lord. Yes, probably Han Solo could strategize better than him. I'm pretty sure he could strategize better than him. But in the end, you know, with like if he's like peak physical condition, his reflexes are also going to be really good. I'm pretty sure he might even be able to dodge the blasts better than Han Solo could. That's just what I'm thinking. Probably Han Solo is a better shot than Star-Lord is, because he's probably been in the game longer. But you know, this is just what I think. I don't really have good reasoning for this one, I feel. But that's just because this is a pretty even fight. But, you know, like, physically, I feel Star-Lord takes the edge. Versatility, I also feel Star-Lord takes the edge. I think there was... Oh, yeah, like, fighting skill, again, that's, like, in a regular... like combat, you know, stuff like that. Combat experience is a bit hard to say, but when it comes to actual fighting, we know that Star-Lord has done more, even just in that one movie. And he's also, and even though both of them are reliant on other people, Star-Lord has been reliant on his team sometimes, and Han Solo has been reliant on Chewie. Though when it comes to like a partnership, I feel that they're mostly reliant on each other, you know? Like, kind of like Rocket and Groot. Both of them need each other to be a good team. Like, Rocket is going to get completely destroyed if he doesn't have Groot's muscle with him, and Groot, you know, Rocket's the brains of the operation, you know? And it might not work the exact same way with Han and Chewie, but, you know, he's more comfortable going into combat with him. Whereas Star-Lord is not as reliant, I feel, on his team. Like, and before he joined the team, he's done a lot of stuff on his own. So, when it comes to that, I feel he's more comfortable going into combat by himself. And again, he's just more versatile with his rocket boots and his helmet or whatever. He has more equipment than Han Solo does. And I just feel if they were to meet, like with no prep time, if they were just to meet, I feel that Star-Lord would probably win. Like with a gun shoot, again, it could all just come down to who could shoot each other first. And you know, Han Solo might even be able to do that. But realistically, if there was like how many times out of 10, I'm not exactly sure how much it would be, but I feel Star-Lord would win more times out of 10, maybe like 6 or 7. Again, this is close. This is really rather close. But I just honestly feel Star-Lord takes the slight edge. Again, no matter who I would think would win, it would be a really close fight. But just because of the versatility and physical advantages that Star-Lord has, the only thing that I feel that Han Solo has over him is you know, strategy and like brains and like, because you know, like Star-Lord could probably get distracted more easily. But you know, honestly, I just feel that Star-Lord is just better equipped for the job. But that's just my own personal stupid opinion. So while Han Solo might shoot first, Star-Lord will shoot last. Sorry, I just had to say that. But like I said, this is a pretty close fight. So guys, I'm just gonna wrap this up right now. I think Star-Lord would win. Again, probably one of my weaker episodes, but whatever. If you did enjoy this video, though, please give me a like. Comment down what you thought of it, who you think would win, if you think I got anything wrong. If you think Han Solo will win, please tell me why. And also comment down what else you think, what other videos you'd like to see, and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. That would really help me out. And yeah, so the next video, the next Who Would Win and Why season finale season finale of Who Would Win and Why, Captain America versus Iron Man. See you guys later.